Bottom line is visa is usually not guaranteed, and anybody who comes to a program, anybody that I talk to is a potential international student. Me, I always tell them, man, when it comes to visas, you really have to prove yourself. But just because there is a chance that you can be denied a visa, it should not stop you from pursuing your dreams. Because you can be denied visa once, but go back again, apply for the visa. We have students actually who get visas at the second attempt, third attempt. Actually, you have a case of a student who got his visa at the fourth attempt. At the end of January. Yeah, so this process requires you to be patient and also be somebody who is resilient. We have a very, very intensive visa coaching program where we prepare you for the visas, because at the end of the day, we don't want you to go to the embassy and you have no idea of what will be the questions that they'll ask you. So we do prepare our students that on all that for them to know, okay, this is what is expected, you know, hii ndio maswali zenye utaulizwa and all that. But at the end of the day, for us is just to prepare you. So si ati nitakuwa hapo kwa visa. So wewe tu na Mungu wako na huyo visa officer, unaweza kuta saa zingine hata si wewe, mistake hata si yako, umeenda hapo embassy umekuta maybe visa officer mwenye ako hapo hiyo asubuhi yako na mood zake, you know, alafu anakunyima tu. Yeah, and then you just take it and then try again, and you'll get the visa after some time. So when it comes to your living expenses, basically it's usually your accommodation kwenye utakaa. Typically students accommodation unaweza kunalipa rent ya maybe you average really about maybe $700 per month. And that's usually like shared accommodation. And then of course there's books. You need money for bills, you know, your internet, whatever, all those things. So that's really your expenses. Of course, maybe mngaro, hapa na pale. Yeah, that's all.
What's up, everybody? This is Kenya Online Media. My name is Eve Nyaga. Have you had a dream of studying abroad? You know, have you had that desire to study abroad, but you're wondering, how am I going to go about it? Especially if finances are a problem. Well, worry not. We have the perfect solution for you. And my guest today, Bob Mwiti, the founder of Kenya Airlift program, now rebranding to International Scholars Program, will be giving you tips on how you can study abroad and fulfill your lifelong dreams and desires. Bob, how are you?
Salama sana sasa.
Poa sana.
Unakaa poa
Asante sana. So do you...
Lakini Kanairo kuna baridi.
Baridi ni moto.
Natetemeka bana. Kuna baridi sana.
I thought watu wametoka majua wasikiangi baridi ya Kanairo.
Ai wewe, hii Nairobi, it's very cold. Mimi naisikia.
More than the US.
More than the US. Unajua kwetu kwenye tunakaa. Actually, I live in a place called Florida. Huko ni joto. Huko ni kama Mombasa. Yeah, so mi nasikia baridi. I'm not used to this.
Karibu Kanairo, karibu Kenya.
Asante sana. Kanairo iko poa. Mandhari si mbaya sana. Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah.
All right. So how long have you been away?
Been in the US for the last 15 years. Yeah. So nilienda huko kama student. Nilienda 2009.
So before hata to get into that, maybe unaweza introduce kwa watu. Najua nimekupatia a brief introduction, but you can just go deeper with it.
Yeah. So guys, my name is Bob Mwiti, and originally mimi ni wa kutoka huko Meru. Meru mahali inaitwa Gikomene. Huko ndani kabisa. So that's why I grew up. And then I went to a the local village primary school. Inaitwa Gikomene Primary School.
Nikasoma village iko ndani aje?
Iko actually si ati iko ndani vile, ni venye iko na jina yenye inakaa funny sana na inakaa huko ndani. Yeah, so I went to Gikomene Primary School. Alafu nikamaliza nikaenda Nkobo High School bado in Meru County. So mimi mtu amelelewa tu huko Meru And then later on in life nikapata chance ya kwenda America. So in 2009 that's when I got an opportunity kwenda kusoma huko, and I went to do an MBA in professional accountancy. Nikaenda shule inaitwa Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Yeah, so huko ndiko nilisomea. I graduated with my masters in 2011. and then I got an opportunity ya kufanya kazi huko. Unajua ukienda majuu most of the time unaanza kutafuta opportunities zenye ziko huko bana, ndio upate dola. Huwezi rudi ovyo ovyo kama umesota na venye huko kilikuwa kimeumana at some point Hapa nilikuwa nafanya job kama teller hapa tu Equity Bank Westlands. Yeah, but of course once I got the opportunities kwenda huko, me decided I need to stay there and look for money. Yeah, so I got a job as a systems analyst. I used to implement projects zao za projects za Fortune 500 companies huko, projects za IT. Yeah, so I was the IT guy. And then I worked in the industry for about 5 years. Alafu I just decided to start my own thing, man. Yeah, so I started a consulting company in 2017, and then around 2018 we started this program that we currently run, inaitwa the Kenya Airlift program, which we are rebranding at the moment into International Scholars Program. So from 2018, that's really what I've been doing since then. Kupeleka watu kwenda kusoma majuu huko. America is our biggest market, but also we do take students to Canada as well. Yeah, so but ni program yenye inapeleka students kwenda kusoma.
So wewe could decide kwenda huko, maybe you can just give us a brief background of how you ended up going there na nini ilikupush kwenda huko, especially considering that umesema, and I've heard from other interviews, you grew up in a very, humble background.
Yeah, so me when I was born, I was born by teenage parents. So madhe na father wao walikuwa tu shule. My dad alikuwa form 2. So ile as in ile mtu unazaliwa tu and then maybe hakuwa amejipanga, So my dad akaendelea na shule all the way to university level. My mom, she dropped out of school. So mimi I grew up with my grandparents. Hao ndio amenilea, very humble family, hakuna hata kitu, typical village life with no money, because hata kwenda shule, by the way, for me I was in school, I was very good, and my dream was always to come to Nairobi. Nilikuwa nimepita sana KCPE those days. I was among the top students in Meru County with a mean grade of an A. Nikaitwa Nairobi school. Because nilikuwa nataka kuja Nairobi, so hata nilikuwa nimechoose Nairobi school. So but sikuweza kukuja Nairobi school. I ended up going to Nkobo High School because it was much more cheaper. So all along me I never thought ati ningeenda ati America. Sasa kufanya nini na mimi bana, unajua kwenye tulikuwa, you wouldn't even think.
But it was not ati kitu yenye ishawahi cross mind yako.
Ati nimei hata atifikiria ati kutoka ati kwenda outside the country. Hapana. Mimi dream yangu tu ilikuwa kwenda Nairobi. And that's also why hata nikiwa primary school nilikuwa na choose Nairobi school, because I was very sure that school would be in Nairobi, because of all the national schools I had to choose. Sikuwa hata kuchoose akina Alliance, akina Mangu, sijui akina nani, because I was not very sure that hizo shule ziko Nairobi. So I was sure Nairobi school iko Nairobi. Juu ya jina. My wisdom at that time ilikuwa inaniambia hiyo shule lazima ikuwe Nairobi. So I chose that one. And actually, even when you were doing our choices KCSE later on, sasa nikiwa high school, also I made sure every course nilipick ya uni iko University of Nairobi. Ndio nikuja Nairobi
back. Ulikuwa umetamani kuja Nairobi?
Nilikuwa nimetamani kuja Nairobi sana.
But coming to Nairobi was a big deal back in the days.
Big deal back then. Yeah, because mimi nakumbuka nikuja Nairobi for the first time ilikuwa nikiwa high school. Tulikuwa tumekuja music festivals. I was very good in music. So nilikuja all the way to the nationals hapa KICC. That was my first time. Bana, ilikuwa trip ingine kali sana. But anyways, so later in life, my dad sasa, although he was not in my life, alidecide kwenda majuu. Akaenda UK in 1996. At that point, mi sikuwa kwa life yake. I grew up not knowing who my dad was. Na my grandparents hawakuwa wameniambia anything about yeye. So hapo 1996 yeye akaenda. Me at that time siko kwa life yake. But that decision yeye kwenda, it opened my doors also later on, as in indirectly. Because so what happened in 2001, nilikuwa na a lot of problems at school fees. tuka decide with my grandparents we need now to start looking for my dad. Anyway, my grandparents decided to start looking for my dad, so akamtafuta. We got somebody who connected us to him in the UK. Sasa kwenye alikuwa ameenda UK, so kutoka hapo my life changed completely. When I tell you my life changed, you won't believe it. School fees, kila kitu cleared. Mimi nilikuwa nimezoea kupewa pocket money ya 100 shillings. Kutoka hapo pocket money, my friend, in pounds ukizi convert into Kenya shillings zinakuja in thousands. I was transformed from this kid who mwenye hakuwa na anything to the richest kid in school, the richest kid in the village. Mamngaro huko kutoka UK, na venye mimi nilikuwa mshamba, ma jeans, maviatu, watches, cameras those days. Mpaka nakumbuka my dad hata akanitumia hata ma CD players. Mi kwa village nilikuwa na CD player those days. Usicheze.
You ended up being the cool kid now.
Sasa me, I was the cool kid, but cool kid mshamba though still. I mean, umeikuta uko in a position where we ni mshamba lakini uko na do. Nilikuwa hiyo that time nilikuwa hivyo. Cause my dad alijaribu sana. Alikuwa anatumia hata ma CD players akina Tupac Shakur, sijui DMX, sijui akina nani those days. Mimi hata siwajui. Aki. Lakini anyway with time nikaanza kushika mambo. Unajua polepole tu. But anyway, so umeniuliza how did I end up in the US? So venye my dad alikuja into my life is really the one who opened the doors for me za kwenda abroad. Because from that point akaanza kuniambia, hey Bob, you know, I would like you to go and study abroad. Nataka ukuje UK. Alikuwa UK. I want you to come to London, you know, come and study here, come and visit, stuff kama hizo. Mi kuambiwa hivyo. So mimi, everybody in my class, you are form 4, alikuwa anajua Bob anaenda majuu after KCSE, anaenda. So nilikuwa nimeambia kila mtu. Little did I know that process would be a very long one. Because when I started in the process, I was denied visa the first time. Then again, I went again, I was denied. Again, I was denied. Again, I was denied. I was denied visa 4 times.
A lot of times.
Yeah, so
before we even continue, in e process ya kudinaiwa visa, how long? Like between the first visa, the second visa, the third visa, like time spans za hizo times ni gani?
So visa yangu ya kwanza kwenda kutafuta ilikuwa December of 2001. Because nilimaliza KCSE 2001. Immediately nikaenda kuja huku Nairobi kuja kutafuta visa. That was in December of 2001, nikanyimwa. The initial visa was for visit. Nilikuwa nataka kwenda ni visit mzazi huko, you know. But I didn't know whether I was to come back. Mi sijui plans za mbuyu zilikuwa nini. But I was denied. And then after that in 2002, I got admission kusoma huko undergrad. Nilikuwa naenda kusoma software engineering, University, sijui London School of Management. Nikaenda embassy, nikanyimwa bado. And then same 2002, nikaenda tena, nikanyimwa bado ya shule. So those days we used to stay at home for about 2 years. Ukimaliza KCSE na ukipita before you join uni kama regular student, we used to stay for 2 years. So by 2003 I just decided to join university hapa. I was now nimenyimwa visa mara 3 already. So I was like, let me just join university.
Umekufa moyo?
Nilikuwa nimekufa moyo, so nikajoin Nairobi Uni because nilikuwa nimeitwa Nairobi Uni. I was at Chiromo campus. I was doing a BSc mathematics. So nikajoin, but within 3 months nikatoka huko, nikaenda Strath. My dad akaniambia, wewe, because tulikuwa na strike Nairobi Uni. After hapo akasema, you know, it's better you go to a private university. My friend, nikapelekwa Strath.
Ule kijana wa Gikumene ameenda Strathmore.
Ameenda mpaka Strath. Kai, Mungu ni nani? So mimi nikapelekwa Strath, and I think also my dad, I think alikuwa anaona huyu kijana tu na anataka tu kumchanu. Unajua sasa huko Strath ni ya mababi, kizungu kila saa. Mimi nilikuwa nimezoea Kimeru. Mimi kizungu, kuongea na kizungu ilikuwa ngori. I was good I was good in written English. I'm really really good. But those days ikikuja kwa kizungu kuongea ilikuwa shida. But anyways with me now going to Strathmore, unajua sasa I had to pull my socks Unajua huko kila mtu hakuna hata Kiswahili. Aki. So anyways so I went to Strath. I did BCom. I majored in accounting and finance. And then I graduated in 2008. I also did some ACCAs there. I graduated in 2008 with a second class upper division. Alafu kutoka hapo sasa, because also around your time also when I was in Strath, I think when I was in second year, also I tried to look for a visa again. So that was my fourth attempt, but nikanyimwa bado. Nilikuwa second year Strath. Na hiyo tu nilikuwa nataka kwenda kuvisit. Mimi hata sikuwa nataka kwenda ni visit ati nikae huko. Yeah, so nilikuwa tu nataka kwenda kuvisit. So nikanyimwa tena. But now when I was graduating in 2008, we decided as a family with my dad that let me try my fifth attempt ya visa. I think rather than trying the UK for my masters, I can try the US. So hapo ndio nilianza kutafuta shule US nini all that, and in 2009 I got the visa.
Finally.
Yeah, finally nikapata visa. I was so excited, man. I was so excited. Nakumbuka hata nilipata visa and then I quit the job that month. Na nilikuwa niende like 3 months later. So nika quit job, nikakuwa jobless. Excitement. I always tell people hata ukipata visa, don't just quit the job just like that.
Really?
Hata siku ya mwisho. Sasa unaweza pata visa hadi 3 months in advance, alafu wewe sasa uquit job, alafu what are you gonna eat? So saa zingine unajua ni excitement tu, unaona ni kama sasa maybe utaenda the following day. So mimi nilikuwa ni report shule August na nilipata visa May. So unaona May, June, July, August, all those months.
So kuna survive aje?
So of course kikaniramba kidogo hapa na pale. Nilikuwa naomba tu pesa ndio niweze kusurvive.
But bado above all, you know, as much as naomba pesa, I'm still excited I'm leaving.
Yeah, of course I was excited I'm leaving. Me tu nilikuwa tu naona tu nikiwa America, you know. Sasa mambo zangu ndio nikifika huko, you know, will be life be on the other side, you know. Tatafutaji pesa huko. Nikaanza tu kuzichorea michoro zangu. Yeah, it was a very exciting moment. Then I left in August of 2009. Yeah.
Right, so what made you decide, you know, to start a program that enables students to go abroad to study?
So when I graduated from school on the other side in 2011, I figured out there was good money in the technology space. So I got trained as a systems analyst, and that's how I got a job as a systems analyst. And ni job yenye ilikuwa inanipea pesa mob. Cause by the time I was leaving my job huko US, hiyo yenye nilikuwa nafanya kama systems analyst, I was making about maybe today's equivalent of 1.5 million a month. And I was just an ordinary systems analyst guy. I was not a manager, school as supervisor, school anything. So you know, when I got into that space, because hata hiyo space yenyewe ya technology, me I was never really a tech guy. Huku nilikuwa nimefanya BCom, accounting and finance. America nilikuwa nimeenda kufanya MBA. But because mimi nilianza kuona some of my colleagues wenye tulikuwa na same class ya MBA Wahindi, mtu anamaliza wanaona wanapata job mzuri. So I started asking them like, you know, how did this guy get this job, la 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 la. Maybe you can be trained, you know, stories IT, and that's what I really did. So I got trained for about 6 months, alafu ndio nikapata hiyo kazi. Kazi poa sana. So it was paying me, by the time I left the job, I was getting paid 1.5 million a month, just a regular guy. So me, when I got into that space, I realized, one, there was not really a lot of people of my background wenye walikuwa kwa hiyo space, because unaona kama job unakuta watu wenye tunafanya job na wao ni mostly ni Wahindi ama Chinese or Americans, typical, you know, wazungu. So huwezi pata ati Mkenya mwingine. So me, what I started doing, I started thinking of how can I help our people wapate hizo opportunities zenye nilikuwa nimepata, kwa si waoni watu wengi wenye wanatoka my background. So mimi polepole tu nikaanza kutrain watu ile tu as in kama side hustle. kutrain watu. Hizo vitu zenye nilikuwa nafanya na train watu sasa, alafu watafutia kazi. Kwanza nikaanza kuleta kwa the same company yenye nilikuwa nafanya job. Kwa Wakenya wengi hapo hata wakashinda, wakaanza kushindwa, hawa Wakenya wanatoka wapi? Najua sasa kwa hakuna Mkenya mwingine alikuwa hapo after kuingia hiyo job. Nikaanza kuleta Wakenya huko. So mimi, because of course I have that entrepreneurship mind. So at some point I was like, well, you know what? I can do this thing as a business rather than just doing it as a side hustle. So that's when I started a company, a consulting company ya kutrain watu na kufanya placement hapa na pale. But now around the same time also nikaanza kupata challenges za kupata watu wa kutrain sina. No, naturally when you have a business you start thinking of solving problems and unapata tu kwa business. So at that point ndio nikafikiria, well, since I'm not able to get so many people who can get into this space, where can I get as many people as possible to find these opportunities? So nikaanza kufikiria tu, nikasema si hata naweza maybe saidia watu wenye wako huko home wakuje tu waone venye mambo iko huko. So that's how idea ya program ilikuja. So I started the program in 2018. But kwanza ilikuwa very hard because when I started the program, no one wanted to join. So program yenyewe, what I did, because that process ya kukuja, I figured out that it was a very long one for me, of course, since it took me so long to get there, of visa denials and all that, and I had to figure out a lot of things. So I was like, I can come up with something that actually helps anybody who is smart and they don't even have the money to go to the other side. And so because kusoma America, for example, the way I went to do my masters, it can cost you around 5 million Kenya shillings for a master's program. And I was like, how many Kenyans have that kind of money?
5 million, is it tuition fee plus, accommodation, or just tuition fee?
That would be your tuition plus living expenses. For one, you need money for applying to schools. You need money for something called evaluation of transcript. You need money for something called enrollment deposit initishangwa na shule. You need money for something called entrance exams. Unaweza fanya exam inaitwa GMAT or GRE kama unaenda for masters. Then also you need money for your air ticket. Ama utaendaje America? Unaenda na nduthi? Hapana. Si unaenda na ndege. So you need that. Also you need money for medicals. You need ukifika pande ile, because mostly our funding on the other side normally takes time before it gets to you. Can take maybe a week or so. Utakuwa unakula nini, utakuwa unakaa wapi, utapikiwaje kutoka kwa airport mpaka shule. So that process requires money, averagely about $5,000, which would be around 700 to 800,000 Kenya shillings. Not many people have that kind of money. So I was like, well, I've solved the other problem on the other side ya kusoma, tuition and living expenses, but also I needed to solve this problem also hii ya kwenda hii. Yeah, so I came up with the program, and basically what we do is we are an education financing scheme that supports bright students to go and study abroad. Mostly we focus on students who are interested in STEM, masters. STEM basically means science, technology, engineering, and math. So the good thing with our program is that you don't really have to have done STEM. You could have done anything. Like for example, unaweza kulifanya theology, BA, whatever you'll have done. But as long as you're interested in STEM, you can definitely get into our program. So the way we finance the program, on the other side, we have a partnership with a banking institution, a lender that gives us the money to up to a tune of $100,000. But of course, you don't have to get all the other 100,000 because it's a lot of money ya kuchukua kama loan. So you get whatever you need. And then also we have partnerships with universities on the other side. Right now we have partnerships with about 25 universities. And also those universities, they give us some few waivers, which we call also scholarships. Let's say, for example, a university to study in a certain university may cost you maybe, let's say, for example, $30,000. But what we do is we negotiate with those universities, because normally international students, they pay more than what the locals pay. Tunamwambia, hey, rather than our students paying $30,000, can you please charge our students $25,000? na umekatiwa like 5,000 because of the fact that yuko kwa program. So those are some of the ways that we normally reduce the burden ya students wetu, but whatever else is remaining, for example kama shule kusoma ni 30,000 umekatiwa 5 na ulipe 25, still 25 is a lot of money. So what we do is we get funding now through our lending partners. Sasa tunakusaidia, which is unsecured loan. Then also hii ya kwenda tunakupea, tunakucharge tu once umeingia kwa program hii tutakucharge tu kama loan, alafu tutulipa baadaye ukiwa pande ile.
So I want you to take us through the process of, applying, could join program until, you land on the other side. Because umesema this part is the longest one. Ukishafika huko, then you can continue with your studies. So take us through that process. Nikikuja kwa ofisi zenu, or maybe if I log on to your website, how am I supposed to go about it? Yeah.
So generally the process to go and study abroad takes about a year on average. And we are assuming that everything goes as planned. Sometimes it can be longer, can be shorter, but on average about a year. So if you really want to go and study, so it's very important that you manage expectations in terms of the timeline. Now, so basically what happens is anybody who is interested in what we are doing, the first thing is usually to go to our website, which is www.kenyaairliftprogram.com. Also, you can go and check www.international scholars program, since we are rebranding. But once you go there, the first thing is to download our program handbook. It has all the information about what we do, the courses, the schools that we work with, the scholarships that we have in those schools, all that stuff. You go through it, you understand how the program works, and then after that you make an application to accept into the program. For us to accept you, you must have scored at least a C+ in KCSE and a second class division for your undergrad. Any undergrad, si lazima umefanya STEM. And then what's the other thing? Also, we do check your credit hapa kama uko kwa CRB, because also you don't want to give you money alafu si mtu mwenye analipanga pesa za watu. Yeah, so you must have a good credit in terms of you don't have any delinquencies. You can be having loans that you are servicing, but at least you should not have any delinquencies, as in ile uko na loans zenye ulipi. So you check. So
yani nikipatikana niko na CRB hata ya 200, you will have a problem accepting me.
Yeah, because it just shows that you are not financially responsible. Kama mtu anakupea 100 yake na urudishi, how do you think you will be able to repay millions and utapewa? Si utaruka kichwa alafu alafu uepe na hiyo pesa. Yeah, so we look at that. But of course we get a lot of quite a number of students who have been listed on CRB and all that. But kama uko listed and maybe uko na somebody in the US who can be able to co-sign your loan, somebody who is a permanent resident or a US citizen with a good credit, somebody can co-sign for you, alafu you can still get into the program. Yeah. So we check all that, and then once you get into the program, to get into the program, by the way, it's not entirely free, because I get a lot of people, calling and say, hey, you guys mkona hii program where Kenya Airlift, do scholarships, do nini. Well, of course, there's some cost that is associated with getting into our program. We normally charge $1,100 as our consultation fee, but then again, once you get into the program, the rest is taken care of, so you don't really have to worry, because umesikia process also requires money ya kwenda like around 5,000. Ito tutakupea tu, and then on the other side kusoma, we'll figure out that for you. So the only thing that you need to worry about is $1,100. Unaingia kwa program, then unaanza kusomea exams zinaitwa GMAT or GRE. It might take you about 4 months kumaliza hizo exam. Unaweza anguka also. Ukianguka urepeat.
No option ya kurepeat. Nikirepeat tena nianguke.
Ukirepeat, every time you repeat, you pay for that exam. Ni $250. Yes, GMAT. It's expensive. Yeah, so now make sure you do well once you get into the program. But we get students who fail. And repeat. So that's why I was saying, like, that process, in as much as yes, it's 1 year, it can even take you 2 years, depending wewe tu mwenyewe kama umeingia alafu umeanza kuanguka hizo majimat, utasaidika aje? Ni kurepeat tu alafu ndio uzipita. Yeah, so there is that. And then once you are done with that, then you start the process of applying to your schools, and unataka kwenda kusoma. You have a big career advisory team yenye huwa ina sit down with you to understand your background, and then they advise you which schools to pick, which programs, why this program, all those things. Then once you apply to schools, you get your admission. Then after that, we process the funding now. because for you to go to seek a visa, you also need to show to the school that you have the money to study. So that gets sorted out. Ukiwa pandei bado, you get the approval letter, your funding, and then we send that to the school. You get your immigration document, and that's what you take to the embassy. As far as visas is concerned, also it's something that I always like really clarifying to a lot of the viewers and anybody who is interested in going and studying abroad. There is no guarantees when it comes to visas, because process a visa, see, it's not the Kenyan government that gives the visa, it's the US government. And kupata visa, actually, you have to really prove that you are a genuine student. You know, typically Africa, as most countries, I mean all countries in Africa, we are considered third world countries, and actually we are considered in the eyes of the US, we are high risk immigration country. I mean continent or country, basically meaning that chances za mtu akitoka hapa arudi, they are very minimal. Ni ukweli ama si ukweli? Ni ukweli, si ndio? Because there are mashida zenye tuko nazo hapa, so they know that. And you can't change that fact. It is what it is. Tuko na mashida na watu wanataka kwenda huko. So of course with that comes with being restricted, because US hawataki just anybody just to go there. Just because you want to go and study, it's not like they just want you to, because they don't know. You see, the problem that the visa officer normally have is basically identifying a genuine case ya student mwenye anaenda kusoma huko. Unakuta watu, mtu anaendanga embassy uko sijui na bank statement ya 40, 30, 20 million, na bado unaona mtu ananyimwa visa. Unajua kwa nini? Because the visa of the embassy, they are actually not able to prove whether hii pesa unaonyesha ni yako ama umeomba ama umeenda River Road ukatafuta statement somewhere ukawapatia. But what they normally look at when you go to look for that visa, they look at you and try to figure out whether you are actually a genuine student. So how they do that, it's basically the question that they ask you. For example, kama unaenda kwenda kufanya masters, most of the questions watakuuliza, for example, why are you going to the US? Why now? When did you graduate? What did you do for your undergrad? And if you did this course, why are you going? How is your course, what you did for your undergrad, how is it tied to what you are going to study? Whatever maybe you've been doing, maybe you got job hapa, whatever you've been doing, how is it connected to what you are going to study? The other question is always, how do you plan? What are your plans once you are done with school on the other side? So as a student, you are not supposed to show your ties on that side. You are supposed to show ties upper, because this is an immigrant visa. So unafaa uambie, maybe once you go to the other side, of course, once you gain the knowledge, you'll come back here, you know, support the country. You know, there's a lot of initiatives zenye tuko nazo, you know, Vision 2030 unaweza ongea vitu kama hizo, you know, unaweza ongea vitu za, you know, climate change, you know, vitu kama hizo, vitu zenye zinaweza affect. Usikuwa at very selfish with useme angetaka kuja sijui nifanye sijui job yenye nilikuwa nitaongezwa mshahara, vitu kama hizo. Those are very common answers. Ongea vitu zenye zinaweza maybe impact the world. You know, you can come back here, maybe let's say for example umefanya course kama cyber security. You know, you can say for example here in Kenya, you know, cyber security, I mean infrastructure ya technology hapa, it's not that good. I can come with my skills and help the country, you know, combat, you know, vitu kama cyber crime, vitu kama hizo, as in broad. Yeah. So that's how that visa officer will be like, this person, this looks like a very good student, so we can allow this person to go and study. You understand? So so key thing is basically to prove you are a genuine student. Most of the time actually hata the visa officer hata waangaliangi hizo documents zenye umeleta. And that's also why I was getting denied those days, because you see, when I was going to the embassy at the time, and I was very timid. I was like, nilikuwa na uoga, naogopa tu, as in hata, and of course also communication skills wise sikuwa poa those days. So if you don't have that, it becomes very hard for you to get the visa. So anyways, bottom line is visa is usually not guaranteed, and anybody who comes to a program, anybody that I talk to is a potential international student, me, I always tell them, man, when it comes to visas, you really have to prove yourself. But just because there is a chance that you can be denied a visa, it should not stop you from pursuing your dreams. Because you can be denied visa once, but go back again apply for the visa. We have students actually who get visas at the second attempt, third attempt. Actually, we have a case of a student who got his visa at the fourth attempt. Alienda is January. Yeah, so this process requires you to be patient and also be somebody who is resilient. As when it comes to if there is any frustration through the process, you dust yourself and keep on moving. Yeah, so that once you get your visa, then we facilitate your air tickets, tunakukatia tikiti nini kila kitu, and then we send you on the other side. Ukifika pande ile, we have somebody waiting for you. We have a big community around the schools and tunafanya we are partners with, because we have already students there. So you go there and you join that community, and you're all set and you start your studies. Yeah, so that's actually how the process works. But like I said, usually on average about a year, but it can take longer. Yes.
Okay, so these interviews, to get the visas, you've talked about your team will take the student through the courses to pick, advise them, like an advisory.
Yeah.
So will they also train me as a student how to handle those interviews? Yes.
Yeah. We have a very, very intensive visa coaching program where we prepare you for the visas, because at the end of the day, we don't want you to go to the embassy and you have no idea of what will be the questions that they'll ask you. So we do prepare our students that on all that for them to know, okay, this is what is expected, hii ndio maswali zenye utaulizwa and all that. But at the end of the day, for us is just to prepare you. So si ati nitakuwa hapo kwa visa. So wewe tu na Mungu wako na huyo visa officer, unaweza kuta saa zingine hata si wewe, mistake hata si yako, umeenda hapo embassy umekuta maybe visa officer mwenye ako hapo hiyo asubuhi yako na mood zake, alafu anakunyima tu. Yeah, and then you just take it and then try again, and you'll get the visa after some time. Yeah, but we do support.
Right. So part of the requirements you've talked about ni grade, and you have to want to do STEM courses. I know there are people who are wondering, is age an issue?
Very good question, by the way. Yeah? So we get a lot of students who are interested in getting into our program, but of course they are a little bit older. Maybe they are like my age. I'm over 40. So we actually have a lot of students who are over 40. Typically, we encourage students who are below 50. If you're over 50, it becomes very challenging kupata visa, because again, it boils down to the same point yenye nilikuwa nimesema earlier, that you need to look like a genuine student. When you're over 50, that visa officer ataona huyu over 50, maybe the kids, watoto wako ndio wanafaa kuwa wanaitisha visa za kwenda America, si wewe. So ataona hiyo kesi yako, hata kama wewe ni genuine, they'll see that you are not really, to them, where they sit, they'll think you are not a genuine case. So, and you are more likely to get denied a visa. So we normally advise anybody who want to join us na over 50, tunamuadvise in hiyo sasa, don't join because of this and this and this. But actually we have students who still want to join, hata kama wako over 50. And kama unajua, at the end of the day, man, me, I can't tell you don't go to school because you're over 50. I can only advise you from a professional standpoint. But when it comes to making that decision, wewe mwenyewe tu ujue, okay, this is good for me, I can keep trying. We have people who are over 60, actually, over 60-year-old, tuko nao kwa program. They've not been successful yet, actually. They haven't been successful. They've been denied visa, but they're still in the program, trying again and again. But yeah, we have them. 40s, wengi sana, succeed. In fact, actually, the oldest ones, when wako pande ile wako over 40, I think they are like 47, 48, around there. Na ni wengi over 40s by then. But also most of our students, they are over 30, 35 na huko, unajua, hao ndio wamekula shida hapa hii Kanairo. That's why hii Kanairo saa zingine inaweza kupeleka mbio.
Inaitwa shamba la mawe.
Shamba la mawe. Yeah, so at that age also sometimes that's when you realize that hata hii job yenye nilikuwa nadhani it can propel me to the next level, haijanifanyia hivyo. So people at that age, people start getting worried, and you start looking for other opportunities, maybe start a new life altogether, vitu zimekuramba huko, that. Yeah, so you get a lot of those who are over that 5, so many of them. Yeah.
Does it matter the time I graduated? Because I think there's a time I was personally interested in, getting a scholarship to go outside and study.
Yeah.
But the requirement was you must have graduated in like the past year, like a recent graduate. So does it matter for your program?
No. Actually, one, we don't care about your work experience. In fact, actually, you can join the program when you're still in school, in your fourth year. That's one. It doesn't matter really what you've been doing. As long as you have the right qualifications in terms of your academics, you should be good, yeah.
So what happens when I've been denied visa the first time, second time, third time, and I had enrolled with the amount of money that you had told you talked about, the $1,100. So what happens? Nimechoka, give up, I want to quit this program. Ama maybe hata nilifanya tu moja, one visa application, and I am already not, I do not want to continue with this program. What happens?
Very good question. So for us, we want also serious students. Hatutaki kama wewe unasema sijui nini ati nikianguka GMAT nimetoka ama nikinyimwa visa nimetoka. No. We want somebody who will actually walk with us through this whole journey. No matter what happens, you are still there. So we have a refund policy, of course. If you stay within the program for more than 6 months, you're not going to get anything. So you're going to lose your money. So of course, you don't want that to happen. So you stick around, If you get denied a visa, you go back again and again and again. Because otherwise, if you withdraw from the program, you're not going to get anything. So, yeah, so there's that policy. Once you are within the program for more than 6 months, you can't get anything back. But if you withdraw from the program within the 6 months, you can get $500 back. Yeah, of course. Then, of course, we take any other expense that you'll have incurred around that time. So, yeah. So that's the policy, and as far as refunds are concerned.
So assuming the program has gone well, mi nimeenda majuu, nimemaliza kusoma my 2 years, how is the repayment process like how, yes, for the funding?
So remember I told you, yeah, we have 2 sets of fundings that we normally facilitate the student. There's that PCA relocation, and there's of course the other side of tuition and living expenses. Tuition and living expenses is the biggest amount. Naongea stories are 5 million Kenya shillings or $50,000. This portion here, it's about $5,000. So ile portion ya pande ile ya tuition and living expenses, because we use an external lender who is our lending partner, that one you repay 6 months after you graduate for the next 10 years. You don't have to be in the US. You can be in Kenya. You can be anywhere else. Because also I like clarifying that some people think like, because we are funding you have to stay in the US. No, you don't have to stay in the US. The world has become a global village. Wherever you go, you can be able to repay your loan. No big deal. You can also come back to Kenya and repay your loans here. So that one is for 10 years ya kusoma. Then hii piece ya kwenda hapa, this one we give this directly through our company. So this one is usually repayment is usually for 2 years, and you start repaying 6 months once you land on the other side for the next 2 years. Si pesa mingi. It's usually like be around $130-$140 a month, which is not a lot of money. In America, pesa kama hiyo, that's pocket change.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's something that you can be able to afford, because also see, our funding on the other side covers your tuition and living expenses. So there's no other expenses that you need to be incurring because they are already covered by the funding. So you can be able to repay your loan very, very easily. Yeah.
When you talk about paying, unajua kuna watu watatoroka tu at the end of the day. Do you have a way of, and this is an unsecured loan? Yeah, maybe you can start by telling us, maybe kuna mtu anaona anashindwa unsecured loan ni nini?
Yeah, so basically our funding is unsecured, which basically means you don't really have to show any collateral. You don't need ati baba ako na shamba, sijui mko na gari, sijui nini. No, we basically look at your potential of making it in life, in terms of unaweza pata job poa, once you are done with school and all that. And that's really one of the reasons why we use a very different model underwriting in terms of giving these loans. Typically traditional banks, Huwezi pata mtu hawezi kupea milioni ati sijui milioni kadhaa bure. No, you can't get something like that here. Lazima ukuwe sijui na nini. But for us, we really look at your potential, future potential. And but for that also why we don't really just pick anybody out there on the street. It has to be somebody who we think is a good student mwenye, because we are risking, it's a huge risk, so mwenye tunaweza risk pesa yetu na atatupea. So basically, you see, of course there's chances that somebody might take our money and then of course disappear somehow, but when you're on the other side of the US, the systems there work. Si kama hapa ati utaingia kwa mashimo sijui huko kwa village hakuna mtu atakupata. Huko systems work, and if you don't repay your loans or anything, life inaweza kuwa very hard. Hautapata kitu kama mortgage. Yani huwezi hata rent apartment, imagine. Yes, you cannot rent an apartment kama credit yako ni mbaya. Yeah, so you have to think about all those things just in case you are thinking like, oh, can get all this money and then disappear. Yeah, tutakuweka kwa CRB ya huko na maisha
hiyo ni worse.
Yani that's the last thing that you want to do, and especially when you've come as a new immigrant in the country, you know, you're in school, you are doing well. You don't want those things to be happening to you. Yeah, so that's the only way that you are able to get back our money. But students pay. Yeah, they do, yeah. Yeah, because unajua huko si huku. Yeah, watu wanalipa.
CRB huko inafanya kazi.
Huko my friend, utakuwa in real trouble. Hautakuwa, you know, once you are not able even to rent an apartment, you become homeless unless maybe mtu akuweke. Yeah, so how can you survive like that? You know, you want to live your American dream. Hukuenda huko kukaa unaogopa izui nini, so yeah, you don't want that to be happening to you.
So why did you decide to give, you know, to assist students to study only STEM courses?
Reason being because STEM skills are very marketable. Si unakumbuka hata mimi nilifanya hizo systems analysis and all that after I was done with my masters. So because of that fact that, you know, these are skills that are very marketable, I felt like the only way that we can be able to help people, it's basically only focus on those who are interested in STEM, because skills as STEM ziko needed all over the world. Yeah, so that's why.
I think the next question maybe I would want to know is, when you talk about living expenses, so what is catered for? Ndio hata student akienda huko akaya kijua maybe you'll need to hustle here and there to provide yourself with this and this.
Unajua sisi ni wa Kenya, and ukienda pande ile lazima uhustle bana. Even me, by the way, when I was in America as a student, even though my parents were giving me the pocket money, mi nilikuwa nimewekwa maisha poa sana, by the way, uko na my dad. But at the end of the day, because you know me, I've grown up in the village, and me, I know the pain of being poor, because at some point, of course, I was poor, with my grandparents and all that. So for me, I knew what it means if you don't have something. So hata nikiwa pande ile nilikuwa na hustle sana, by the way. Nikiwa huko shule, mimi nilikuwa nafanya job sana. I used to work a lot. So when it comes to your living expenses, basically it's usually your accommodation kwenye utakaa. Typically students accommodation unaweza kunalipa rent ya maybe on average rate about maybe $700 per month. And that's usually like shared accommodation. And then of course there's books. You need money for bills, you know, your internet, whatever, all those things. So that's really your expenses. Of course, maybe mngaro hapa na pale. Yeah, that's all. There's no other expenses. Otherwise, apart from that, unajua ubaya wetu, when we go on the other side also, our families wanaanza kukupigia simu, oh sijui nini, your little sister, your little brother anataka sijui nini, na wewe ni student huko, anataka uwatumie kakitu. Maybe a few of those things, but apart from that, that's really all you need.
So I think we are running out of time, so maybe you can just wind up tuambie, talk to Kenyans who might want to join your program. Tukimalizia.
Fantastic. So again, if you're out there and you are interested in getting into the program, the thing that you can do is go to our website, www.kenyaairliftprogram.com, and like I said, because we are rebranding, you can also go to www.internationalscholarsprogram.com. Go there, download our handbook, get to know exactly what we are doing, the schools that we work with, the programs and all that. And then from there on, you can join the program. In terms of doing your due diligence and checking out what we are doing on social media, personally, I'm very active on Facebook. On Facebook, I go by Bob Mwiti, and you can check me out on Facebook. And then, of course, also on YouTube, we are known as International Scholars Program. So you can just go there and check out some of the beneficiaries of the program. One is Storizao, and then from there on, you can join the program. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bob, for your time. We
Thank
appreciate.
you so much. Asante sana. Thank you. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, so you've heard from Bob. In case you want to study abroad, you know what to do. Yeah, thank you so much. See you next time.